We have some very quiet, supposedly copyright-free background music. I can't find my usual fantasy playlist for that because Google made YouTube shitty with ads, and I can't ad block them, so then just big ol' ads come up in the middle of my lore reads, and I hate it. So it's a lore video. It might be long. I don't know. We're just going to talk about a book I read. I'm going to talk about a book. And that book pertains to the event of the second invasion of Ulthuan. Right? Okay. Alright. Taking our headphones off because they're all tangled up. That's pissing me off. So I'm going to untangle them while I talk to you. While I tell you a tale. How do I feel about this book before we get into it? It was fun. It was stupid. It was fun. It was pretty stupid. It was fun. Let's see. On a fun level, it was less fun than Thankwell. Less fun than the Black Plague. More fun than Gotrek and Felix. So, yeah. I mean, it was good. It was up there. It was better than the War of Vengeance. It was better written than those, I guess. I don't know. What we're talking about is the Elven Omnibus, books 1 and 2 out of the 3 books in there. It is the second invasion of Ulthuan. So brief history to get you caught up, right? If you haven't watched any of other lore videos, if you haven't partaken in any lore. The elves used to be one big race, right? The elves. And then something called the Sundering happened. Cool. Sundering happens. Dark elves exist. They split off, taking one of the 10 provinces of the High Elves, separating it from the island, making some black arcs out of it, and sailing over to Nagaron, right? Right. Then apparently a different story that I didn't read was the first invasion of Ulthuan, where the Dark Elves showed up, almost killed the Everqueen in Averlorn. Tyrion saves her, and then there's a battle on Finnabar Plain or whatever. High Elves win, Dark Elves are pushed back. Cool? Cool. This is the second invasion. That's what the story's about. Now, the description of the story, I want you to remember this, because we're going to come back to it at the very end. Last thing we're going to talk about gets built up at the first thing. It's called storytelling, bitch! Anyway. The back of the book says, as the Dark Elves invade Ulthuan, all of the island's fate rests on 2 brothers, divided by treachery. Can they band together to save Ulthuan? Let's find out, friends. Let's find out. Remember that. Stick that in your cap. Remember it. Put it all up in the wrinkles in your brain. All right. So the book starts out. There's 2 boys, Eldane and Callier. Eldane and Callier. They're elven brothers. They're princes of Illyrian. Illyrian is, the plains one with all the horses. Illyrian Reavers, light cavalry. Those guys. And they're on a raid to Nagaroth, sorry. They're going to Clarkaron. They're going to the place where the Dark Elves make all the ships. And they go in there with these enchanted arrows. They're firing enchanted fire arrows all around the harbor, setting every ship in the harbor on fire. Now, it's the biggest harbor the Dark Elves have. They're setting all the ships in there on fire. They're all sinking, and then they see a black arc pulled by an underwater dragon. And they shoot an arrow at the eyes of that dragon. It goes on a rampage. It sinks the black arc and destroys it. So these guys destroy a black arc. That's kind of crazy. Those are very, very rare, very important. Already, this is a very successful raid. Everything's going great. On their way out, Eldane looks back as Callier overstayed his welcome a bit, fighting too many Dark Elves. His horse gets shot out from under him. He's running towards Eldane. When he's within grabbing distance, he says, "Take my hand, brother." And Eldane says, "Your wife's kinda hot, though." And Callier's like, "What?" So Eldane rides off, leaves Callier to his death, and he goes home and fucks his brother's wife. Now, a little bit of context on that. Her name's Rihanna. She's a fire mage. And she was betrothed to Eldane through, family politics. And she's like, "Oh, I love you. You're so handsome and smart and strong." And then they went out in the wilderness for a horseback ride, her and Callier, his brother. And she's like, "You look just like your brother, but you're slightly more confident and your hair is a little bit better. Let's smash." So then they smash. And she's like, "Yeah, fuck our marriage. I'm out. I'm going to date your brother." So then when they went to Nagaroth, he was like, "I mean, I could just leave him here. And if he dies, I'll go fuck that lady." So they were... Callier and her were married, right? Cool. He had a ring on her finger, whatever. 2 years pass. You might be like, well, that was random. It's a setup. 2 years pass. He's still, he's married to Rihanna now, so he took his brother's wife, which was great. That was awesome. I mean, like, she's also a lot at fault here, but sure, whatever. And they're living out their days in their mansion. He's all depressed. And a sword master of Hoth shows up, and she's like, you have to come with me. And Eldane's like, fuck, it's because I killed my brother, man. It's the cops, they're after me. So he goes with her to the Tower of Hoth. They're going to hang out with Rihanna's father. They get to the Tower of Hoth, and Rihanna's father's like, hey guys, the heavens told me Ulthuan's about to die. And they're like, you are really, really excited about that. That's not the right emotion to have right now. And he's like, I just think stars are so cool. When the stars want to tell me stuff, I get really excited, even if it's bad news. And they go, still though, you can chill. Meanwhile, this is 2 years after that raid where they sunk a Black Ark, right? Callier washes up on shore over by Tor Yvresse. It's on the other side of the island. The way other side. He washes up on Tor Yvresse. He doesn't remember anything. He remembers being out at sea for 2 years. He remembers being out at sea, and he has a magical sword stuck in his waist. Like, it's in a sheath. It's not in his body. But it's stuck on his waist, and he can't pull it out of the sheath. Red flag, but okay. He meets this girl. She's a mage. She's a life mage, and she goes, oh, teehee, I'm so frivolous and whatever, and oh, you're just so handsome. You're such a handsome boy. What's at your waist there? It's a magical black blade that I can't pull for some reason. Nothing to worry about there. Come with me, boy. So she brings him home to her dad, who's a very powerful life mage. And he tries to restore Callier's memory. He gets a little bit of it. And Callier's like, I remember I was married. And he looks at his finger, and there's still a ring there. Okay. He knows he's married. And then he turns to the mage's name is Anurian. He turns to his daughter, who I think is like Kyril, whatever. He smooches her. And like, it's funny because the literal sentence he says before kissing her is like, oh yeah, I have a wife. I'm like, oh, okay, you're fucked too. So like, Eldane is fucked for leaving you to die to steal your wife. That's fucked up. Rihanna's fucked up for breaking her marriage to fuck his brother. That's fucked up. And you're fucked up because you were gonna cheat on her anyway, apparently. You all suck. You're all the worst. Anyway, Anurian, another super potent elven mage of life, goes, huh, you have a black blade at your waist you can't draw. Well, that doesn't sound suspicious at all. What are you here for? I don't know. Do you know any powerful mages who could restore my memory? Well, there's Teclis. Yeah, let's go find Teclis. Cool, let's go find Teclis. So they get to Tor Yvresse on their way to go see Teclis in the Tower of Hoth. And if you are a connoisseur of foreshadowing, you know that, wait, they're going to the Tower of Hoth too? Oh, but his brother's there. Oh, and his ex-wife is there. Oh, there's gonna be drama. So, they stop in Tor Yvresse. They run into Eltharion the Grim, and I'm like, wow, we're just going through a star-studded cast. We have Teclis, we have Eltharion the Grim. This is happening, I guess. And Eltharion walks up to him, and he's just like, what are you doing in my city? Like, just not happy to see him all. What are you doing in my city? We're here to see Teclis. Eltharion looks at, like, this fucking happens. He looks at Callier, looks at the Black Blade, looks at Callier and goes, that's a really bad idea. And Anurian's like, Eltharion, come on. You gotta let us see Teclis. And he's like, I don't want him or that sword in my city for another second. Get out. So he lets them through to go to Teclis, and none of them, like, because he just lets them out of Tor Yvresse. It's not like he was gonna stop them. They were just stopping there for like supplies and to say hello, and he was like, get the fuck out. And still, no one's like, hey, wasn't Eltharion rather concerned about that black blade at your side? Which, like, it's pretty on brand for Eltharion to be a dick about this and not give a fuck about anybody as long as they leave his city. That's on brand. What I find stupid is that these three still haven't figured out that the magical black blade he can't draw might be a problem. Anyway. So, they fuck off. They go to the Tower of Hoth. And they get there. As Eldane and Rihanna are messing around with her father and just like hanging out and being cool. Calier goes up to Teclis, and Teclis is like, "What's up, dude? I lost my memory and I have a magical black sword." And Teclis is like, "I love a challenge, let's go." So he reaches into Calier's mind to try and repair it. Turns out Morathi put a trap there. So Calier was captured by the Dark Elves 2 years ago, tortured in Malekith's throne room for 2 years. He was tortured and like just had horrible things done to him. But one of the things done to him was Morathi put a bomb in his brain that when Teclis reached it, it would unravel and explode. So it explodes. He pretty much was a bloated corpse from Total War, except instead of damaging multi-entity models, he damaged single entities. So Teclis gets fucked up, all of his swordmasters, all of his accompanying mages get fucked up, the top of the Tower of Hoeth blows off, and then demons start showing up everywhere, right? And that lady that Calier kissed, Kyriel or whatever, yeah, she's dead, turned into a skeleton. Anurian survives, so good for him, and he's mad at Calier. So, Eldain, Rihanna, everybody who wasn't in the top of the tower fight back the demons. Teclis is barely alive, and he's like, "Calier, no! Don't go! You're going to hurt the Everqueen!" And Calier's like, "The Everqueen? She could probably heal me!" And he runs off. And Eldain sees him leaving, and Rihanna sees him leaving. They're like, "Calier, you're alive?" And this part's stupid. This part's dumb. So, actually, there's been a lot of dumb parts if you aren't getting that, but whatever. Eldain's like, "Calier, you're alive?" And then Rihanna turns to Eldain and goes, "You told me he died." And I said, "Bitch, he seems surprised too." You know what he didn't say? He didn't say, "Ah, Calier, I expected you to show up." He said, "Calier, you're alive? I thought you were dead." And you're mad at him because of what? Oh, because he told you Calier was dead? It seems like he thought that until this exact moment. I don't know why you're mad at him. Now, as a reader, I know that he tried to murder Calier, but you don't know that. You have no reason to be mad at him. Anyway, Calier rides off towards the Everqueen to go kill her too, though he doesn't, like, this is the stupid thing, and I'm sure this one can be hand-waved by Morathi's magic or whatever, but he just blew up Teclis, and he's like, I should go talk to the Everqueen now. But, like, in his head, he's not gonna blow her up. He's like, she can help. And I'm like, bro, the last person trying to help you just blew up. Stop it. Like, take a second. Take a breath. Don't go to another powerful, important mage. So, Eldain and them get called up to talk to Teclis. And Teclis is like, your brother fucking blew me up. And now he's gonna go blow up the Everqueen. And Eldain's like, shit, you should send a raven. You should send an eagle. You should send a letter. You should do anything. Warn the Everqueen. And Teclis goes, no, you do it. Take a horse. So then Teclis sends him off to go save the Everqueen from his brother, right? So we're gonna skip for a second. We're just gonna skip what Calier's doing, go out of chronological order. Eldain books it up towards Avalorn. To get into Avalorn, they have to stop at this island. The island only allows women on it. So Rihanna and the Swordmaster lady get off the boat. They turn into lesbians for a second. It's a little weird, and you think I'm joking? It's a little weird. They swim to the island, and like, Rihanna is 100% straight. Then they get in the water, and she's like, that Swordmaster's ass does look nice, though. And then they get to the island, they hug, they share a little smooch, and they're like, oh, this island's weird. And I'm like, yeah? What are we doing here? Like, aren't you supposed to be warning the Everqueen? Why are we stopping off on apparently lesbian island? What's happening? Whatever. And they go talk to this oracle, and the oracle's like, I've seen all things since the dawn of time. That Calier boy is gonna kill Alarielle. You need to hurry and warn her about that. And Eldain, not Eldain, he's not on the island. The Swordmaster Lady and Rihanna are like, if you know that, why don't you warn her? And the oracle's like, nah, you do it. Fine. Get back to the boat. Go down the thing. Get to Avalorn. Run up to Alarielle. They show up just as Calier's there. Alarielle looks at Calier and is like, what do you want, young stranger? And Calier pulls out the black blade as it's compelling him to do, and he goes, oh, this blade's evil. And the other elves are like, no shit. And the readers are like, no shit. And everyone who's not even involved is like, no shit. And he stabs her. And the book has the dumbest fucking bait and switch because it's like, Alarielle's dead. I'm like, how? I know she shows up later in the lore. How is she dead? And it's like, literally, she's dead. It just says Alarielle is dead. And then the next chapter starts and it says just kidding. And you think I'm joking, but it says just kidding. Like, it doesn't literally say those two words, but it's like, everyone was mourning her loss. And then she opened her eyes. I'm like, what are we doing here? Why would you have a fake out that's just negated on the next page? What's happening? Okay. Anyway, so she fucking nopes out of death. But I'm going too far. We need to go back to, the fact that Eldain and Rihanna showed up late. Hey, Teclis. Hey, Oracle. Maybe you two are dumb as fuck. Like, why would you send two randoms on a horse when you have the most magic available? This is Ulthuan. These are the High Elves. Get a bird to do it. A bird is way faster than a horse. Stupid. You're stupid. Now, why are we going back in time? The Everqueen's dead. Well, how did Calier get there? Calier hooked up with some gypsies. Yeah. Gypsies. I don't know. They're going around the Elven Islands singing and dancing and stuff, and he finds a dancer, and he looks at his ring, and he's like, I just fell in love with a girl and then killed her today. That happened today. I have a ring on this finger. I have a wife. And then the dancer's like, what if I shake my hips a little bit? And he's like, we gotta smash. So then he smashes that girl in front of the entire caravan and they clap. So this guy turned into an exhibitionist so fast. So then he travels all the way up to Averlorn on foot for a week, smashing this chick like every night. The book takes several times to be like, they had lunch, then they smashed. Then they had dinner, then they smashed. They woke up, they smashed. That's all they fucking did, is smash his way across Ulthuan. And like, you're supposed to feel bad for him because his brother stole his wife, but I don't think their marriage was gonna last anyway, because this guy can't keep it together for a second. You almost killed Teclis. You're on the way to kill the Everqueen. What are you doing just smashing tail all over the place? What is happening? Oh my god. So he gets there, and then he murders her. But no, she's fine. So then, Calier escapes, he runs away, and the forest lets him go. And they're like, why is the forest letting him go? And Alarielle's like, he's important. He's really important, you guys. Just let him go. And no one seems to like that answer. Not even them. And then the Everqueen's like, by the way, that guy, points at Eldain, he tried to kill Calier in the Darklands, the Dark Elves. He left him behind to die. And Rihanna's like, you what? And Rihanna tries to start him on fire. And Alarielle stops her fire with some magic and says, nah, it's chill. He's important too. And I'm like, why are you stirring shit up then? What was the point of saying that? You're just sowing discord for no reason. If your objective is, I need you to go get Cal here because he's important, Eldain is the best person to do it, what did it serve to tell his wife that he killed her previous husband? Like, is it the truth? Yeah. Should you lie to people? No. But like, hold on to that. Hold on to that. Tell her later. Because they need to work together and you just sowed all kinds of shit. So anyway, Alarielle's like, you, Fire Mage, stay with me. Eldain, go get Calier. Go save Illyrian or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I'll go get save what? So then, the Dark Elves are here. Now you might be like, what do you mean the Dark Elves are here? I mean the Dark Elves are here. There was no warning of that. What? You didn't lead us to think the Dark Elves are here. One, I told you this book was about the second invasion of Ulthuan, so you should have figured that out. And two, yeah, nobody really knew the Dark Elves were there. They just kind of showed up. And don't ask me why, because it's stupid and it only gets stupider. I didn't think I had this many things to say about this book until we got going, and now we're here, and now you're stuck with it, right? And if this recording gets fucked, I'm gonna be so pissed. We're pausing. All right, we're back. We're back. The audio's fine. We're good. I just got really paranoid because the last lore video I tried to do, like, months ago, the audio cut out about a minute in, and I recorded an hour-long video for no reason. All right, so where were we? Oh, yeah, the Dark Elves was just there, and it's about to get stupid. So the Dark Elves had a plan, right? Marathi was going to sow discord by blowing up Teclis and murdering the Everqueen with her little high elf puppet man, Calier, and then they would launch an invasion while Ulthuan was off of its rocker. So they sail a black arc straight up to the Eagle Gate. Now, the Eagle Gate borders Illyrian and the sea. It used to kind of border Nagaraith and Tiranoc, but Tiranoc got sunk when Nagaraith got blown up. Whatever, doesn't matter. So a Black Ark shows up in like a couple small ships. And they go, ding dong, we are right here. Now, Malekith explicitly says, Morathi, take a Black Ark and sail right up, draw the High Elves away from Lothern, and then me and the main force are going to go attack Lothern. They'll never see it coming. So the High Elves see it coming, because the High Elves have oracles who can see everything. Like, the book just says that. It's like literally the same page, it's showing Malekith's master plan to fool the High Elves. It's like, but their oracles just saw it happening, so they just know it's going for Lothern. Okay, fine. Whatever. I mean, if you guys saw everything, you probably should have seen a bomb going off in the Tower of Hoeth and maybe warned Teclis, like, hey, like, tomorrow around noon you get blown up? What's that about? Whatever. Fuck it. It's fine. So, Morathi's diversion is nonsense, and her and a bunch of Slaaneshi cultists land. I don't know why the Slaaneshi cultists are working with the Dark Elves, but it's fine. So they're landing there to assault Eagle Gate. They assault Eagle Gate. It's great. Quick note. Every fucking legendary lord you've ever heard of shows up in this book except for Ulthuan. And they know that. And you know why they know that? Because the main character of the Eagle Gate subplot's name is an archer with black hair who's the best archer they've ever seen. His name is Ulthuan. Ulthuan. It's not Ulthuan, it's Ulthuan. And they don't say he's named after Ulthuan, and then later he even says, oh, I'm almost as good as shooting an Ulthuan. You know what you did, you know you're fucking with me, just put Ulthuan in the book. Anyway, whatever. So, the short version of the Eagle Gate story is the Dark Elves murder the commander to try and weaken it, but then Ulthuan steps up and kind of does some cool fighting shit. And they hold Eagle Gate forever. They murder a lot of Dark Elves. Like, a lot of them. And a lot of the Slaanesh cultists. So here's the thing. You knew this was coming. You knew as soon as I was talking about elves, it was coming. Because every single video that involves the Dark Elves or the High Elves, I bring up this lore piece, and I can't let it go, because I'll never let it go, and I will die angry. Dark Elves make no fucking sense. They make no fucking sense. There's a different video, it's probably coming out before this one, but it might come out after this one, where I go through the mathematics of why their society doesn't work. It just doesn't. There's no way to explain how Dark Elves show up, because if Dark Elves were the bad guys they supposedly were, Nagaraith, where they came from, is less populated than everywhere else on Ulthuan, so it was the smallest county out of 10. And it was split in half. When the Dark Elves, like, started becoming fucking evil, half the people in Nagaraith were like, nah. So, take the smallest county, cut it in half, like, population-wise, not size-wise. It was pretty big size-wise, but it was rural. So, small population, cut in half. Then, go through a war where half of the smallest population fight everybody else and lose. And then they split off the Black Arks and sail into the sea, but anyone who didn't make it to the Black Arks, which was most of them, because they didn't make the Black Arks on purpose, it was a whoopsie. So the Black Arks only held the people that were currently on them when they split. That's your population, okay? And then you spend most of your time backstabbing each other, literally murdering each other for holidays. You worship the murder god, all you do is kill each other. Somehow you want me to believe that this faction's a bad guy? Okay, there's only one way that works. They need to be the best. And by that I mean, they have to be like the Chaos Dwarves. Sure, you outnumber the Dark Elves 10 to 1, 100 to 1, whatever like that, but each Dark Elf is way better than their High Elf counterparts, right? No, they're treated like a chaff faction, which doesn't make any fucking sense. So Dark Elf after Dark Elf is chucked at the Eagle Gate and just getting churned out. Every High Elf Spearman kills 3 Bleak Swords and Black Ark Corsairs before they go down. It's insane. And I'm like, where are the bodies coming from? Whatever. The Slaaneshi cultists are also trying to climb the walls, and they're just getting slammed. So they spend 5 days getting just raw-dogged, constantly. They're getting murdered. Every night they go back to camp where they didn't take the Eagle Gate. They murder each other because they're mad. The High Elves are holding forever, just killing these guys. Just killing them. And I'm like, okay, we'll get back to that. So Eagle Gate's holding for now. Malekith launches a giant invasion in the south. There's a second Black Ark, and he's on his dragon. He's flying around, and then there's a whole big old fleet of ships. The High Elves get all their ships out, and they sink like... Every ship the High Elves have sinks about 3 Dark Elf ships loaded with Dark Elves. Sinks them, fucks them up. And then they get some merworms in there, the giant dragons of the sea, and they're fucking them up, and everything's going to shit for the Dark Elves, and then Malekith bails them out of that situation. Malekith kills all the High Elves in a big badass moment. That was pretty badass, I have no complaints. But more Dark Elves are dying, I just want you to know that. All of them. Right? But eventually, they win the sea battle, because Malekith's too much of a badass, and Tyrion is on the shore like, I ain't no sailor, I don't know what you want me to do here. Now, when the Dark Elves make landfall, Tyrion starts killing all of them. Tyrion's just badassing his way through people. Okay, cool. Cool. Finnebar, the Phoenix King, shows up, and he's like, hey, I'm also going to badass through some people. You badasses through some people? It's a good time. It's a good time. Love it. The Phoenix Guard show up, and they're kind of a funny tidbit later, but the Phoenix Guard show up, and Finnebar, the Phoenix King's like, fuck, dude, the Phoenix Guard only show up when I'm about to die. No, Tyrion, I don't want to die. And Tyrion's like, stop being a little bitch. And Finnebar's like, I don't want to die, dude. So they fight Malekith for a while. Go back up to the Eagle Gate. So, Eagle Gate. Eagle Gate finally falls. Ulthuan was convinced by Slaanesh, he doesn't know it, but he was convinced by Slaanesh that he should murder the temporary commander of the Eagle Gate and take over because he's so much better of a commander. Which is true, he was. But murdering your commander in the middle of a fight did not actually do great things for morale, and then the High Elves broke and Ulthuan was killed. Okay, cool. The High Elves of Eagle Gate fall back. The Dark Elves and Slaanesh cultists, after getting fucking massacred for 5 days straight, finally break through. Good for them. And then they go towards Illyrian. Now Illyrian gathers up all of its army, gathers up a bunch of cavalry, and they're like, we're ready to do this. The only Dark Elves that were here came on a Black Ark and a couple ships, and they have been getting massacred for 5 days straight. How big could they possibly be? Oh, fuck, they outnumber us 4-1. And I'm like, how? But whatever. How? But whatever. I'm going to leave. But how? How? Whatever. It's fine. Up in the mountains, Imric gets naked and sings to dragons. They don't listen. Okay, fine. Teclis is dying. Alarielle recovers. Somehow. She's just fine. She's fine. Teclis is dying. She's fine. Tyrion and Finnebar continue to fight in the south. The Black Ark breaks through a bunch of gates towards Lothern. It's getting really spooky. It's getting really scary. And Imric continues to sing to dragons that don't listen to him. Things are going bad. Things are going real bad, guys. So the Dark Elves in the south are getting fucking butchered by Tyrion and the boys, but there's always more Dark Elves. There's always more Dark Elves, because Tyrion and the boys in the south are outnumbered 5-1. So in the north, they're outnumbered 4-1. In the south, they're outnumbered 5-1. This is after the High Elf ships took out 3 ships to every one of theirs before they sank. And those ships were all loaded with Dark Elves. Now my question for you, dear reader, is how do you invade an island full of High Elves and you outnumber them 5 or 4-1 when you don't have nearly the population they do back in your homeland? But I said I would leave it alone. I'm not going to, but it doesn't make any fucking sense. So the Dark Elves are just getting massacred, but they have enough bodies so they can push through. I forgot these were Skaven. These are Skaven, apparently. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. We're all having fun here. Oh God, where to start? So instead of jumping back and forth, because of course the book jumps back and forth, right? Let's cover it one at a time. First, we'll go to Lothern. So Lothern, the fight's going really poorly, and they're on the final gate before the city. The Black Ark is there, it rolls up on the gate, it slams into the gate, and the gate bursts open, but the Black Ark can't get through. So Tyrion and the boys are holding, they're all doing great. Malekith's flying overhead, dragon breathing and magicking things, and no one can touch him. And Finnebar, the Phoenix King's like, well, I called Eltharion for help. I called Imric for help. Imric's too busy naked singing. How's that going? We cut over to Imric. He's still naked singing, and the dragons don't give a fuck about that. Okay. And Eltharion's too much of a pussy to show up. And then the trumpet blows. A bunch of Shadow Warriors shoot, and you're like, Shadow Warriors? And it's like, nah, it's Eltharion's Shadow Warriors, which is like pretty much Shadow Warriors, but they're different. They're cone heads. Okay, whatever. But where's Eltharion, guys? Crap! Eltharion dive bombs Malekith from above, fucks him up pretty good, but Malekith's on a dragon, he's on a griffin, and eventually the dragon's like, listen, you cut me like 8 times, and that was kind of annoying. I'm gonna chomp your leg once, and you lose the leg. So Eltharion's mount is like, never mind, and leaves. Eltharion flies down, he gets to this mage who's apparently important, his name's like Benihana's. He flies down towards Benihana's, and Benihana's is like, duck! And then he points his finger and hits Malekith with a fireball. And Malekith's like, haha, force lightning, motherfucker. And Palpatine's his ass. Turns out Palpatine activated his trap card, because there's a lot of that going around. So Benihana's erupts into fire and dies, but so does Malekith. Ugh, big fire, my armor's getting all hurt. Oh, God, I'm dying. And he flies up into the sky, and Eltharion lands. He's like, my best friend in the whole world died, but he died to save me. And then Malekith goes, just kidding, bitch. And he's totally fine. Like, he's just totally fine. And Eltharion's pretty bummed by that. Tyrion goes to shake his hand. Eltharion just ignores him, and they have a little bit of a squabble. Meanwhile, the Sword of Cain is like, touch me! And Tyrion does not touch him. And it's a big moment. And he, like, kind of almost breaks down crying because he didn't want to go touch the Sword of Cain. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird moment. Anyway, Malekith gets really tired of his ship not being able to get through the gates because the gates are too small for his ship. And he's like, fucking... What's Vegeta do? Big Bang attack? What's the thing where he's just sitting there charging for like a long time? Whatever. It's spirit. Okay, that's Goku with the spirit bomb. Yeah, that one. So fucking Malekith spirit bombing, and Tyrion goes, now this part's silly, and I know I say that a lot, but there's a lot of fucking silly parts. Tyrion looks around and goes, everybody off the gate now. Everybody starts to run off the gate, and Finnebar, Phoenix King, runs up. He goes, but the gate will fall! And Tyrion's like, I will not let it fall. And he stands there. Finnebar and everybody leave. They get off the gate. They're waiting, and Tyrion stands there. And I shit you not. He stands there, and he watches the spirit bomb build up, and he watches the spirit bomb build up, and he goes, I don't think he's gonna come fight me. And I'm like, What part of this buildup made you think he was gonna come fight you? He's building up a giant ball of energy. Like, he's gonna blow up the gate, you fucking dunce. So Tyrion's like, oh, he's gonna blow up the gate. Fuck. And runs. I'm like, yo, shit, he's gonna blow up the gate. And he doesn't make it. And the spirit bomb comes down. It blows up the whole fucking gate. And Eltharion dips in on Stormwing, grabs Tyrion out of the sky, and Tyrion's like, we are friends. And Eltharion's like, no, you're just really fucking stupid, and I can't let you die here. And Tyrion's like, fair, dude. So Eltharion lands him back next to Finnebar, and he goes, this battle is the most lost shit I've ever seen. As the Black Ark's coming through, they're all gonna die. The Battle of Lothern is lost, because the Dark Elves outnumber them like 5-1 somehow. Whatever. Back up to Illyrian. So Marathi and the boys are coming in, Slaanesh cultists all over the damn place. And Illyrian tries to hold. Now, Eldane and Calhir are there, and they show up, and they're like, we brought horses! And then the master of Tor Illyr, which is the Illyrian capital, essentially like the duke of this province, right, just goes like, you brought horses. You will be my generals. I'm like, you didn't have any? Where are your generals? What are you doing? Like, just two fucking guys with horses show up. Farmers have horses, man. It doesn't mean they're good soldiers, you stupid fuck. Whatever. So he lets them lead his armies, and he's like, you take the south flank, you take the north flank, I'll take the middle. Let's go. And then some mages show up. Anurian the Green, if you remember him, Calhir accidentally killed his daughter. He's not a fan of that. And then Rihanna's dad is there, and he's like, where's my daughter? And Eldane's like, I don't know. We lost her when we tried to kill Alariel. And he's like, you what? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. Ugh. Illyrian Reavers are fighting on the flanks. There's a bunch of cool stuff. They're all fighting and stuff. And they're like, wow, we're so cool. We're outnumbered like 4-1. This is real bad. And then Calhir rides up and he's like, I see the Slaanesh champion. He fucked my ass. And you think I'm kidding, but he's part of that torture that Calhir got for 2 years, it was getting sodomized by this Slaanesh guy. So he's like, hey, fuck you, bro. And rides at him. He's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. And then the Slaanesh champion's like, no, and just bodies him. Like, cuts his horse out from under him, kicks him in the face, and is like, no, I'm a champion of Slaanesh. You're some fucking guy. How did you think this was gonna go? So Calhir's like, wow, this was really stupid of me. And Anurian the Green, that life mage who Calhir killed his daughter after he smooched her because he was married, and for some reason that's a thing you do. He rides up, he's like, I'll save you even though you don't deserve it. And he like pretty much just casts Dwellers Below at his feet and is like, suck it, bitch. And the Slaanesh champion's like, alright, and kills him. So Anarian's dead. Callier escapes. And then Eldain tries to meet up with him and all this stuff. And then Alarielle from Averlorn shows up on a rainbow. I mean, that's where we're at. She shows up on a rainbow with all these tree men and stuff. And maybe the funniest part of the book, and I keep saying that, but as I'm going through it, man, it's so hilarious. So Alarielle shows up. And I know I keep saying it, but I'm not lying. You can pick it up. The Elves Omnibus tell me I'm wrong. She shows up. She has dryads. She has tree men. She has satyrs. She has fairies. She has all these things. She's fucking Alarielle. And she sends the poets and the gypsies out to fight first. She sends them as the first wave. And they're running out and they're imbued with like her magical energy so they can't like say no. They're like whipped up into a frenzy. And they get fucking murdered. Like she just sentences all of them to death. And the dryads and treemen are standing back like, wait for them to soften them up. And I'm like, what the fuck? So all the poets die. Like, all of them. And then the dryads and treemen are like, alright, let's go. So they start stomping through the Slaanesh guys. And Izek Cool, the Slaanesh champion's like, that's a pretty lady. I'm a pretty guy. We should get married. So he wants to go marry the Everqueen, and by that I mean murder her and then marry her corpse or whatever. It's not great. And Alarielle goes, you're a little sick, aren't you? And then she pokes him in the chest. He turns from this big, beautiful man into a rather ordinary dude. And he's like, ugh, this is what I looked like before Slaanesh gave me his gifts. And Slaanesh is like, I want that one back. So then Slaanesh poured a bunch of power into him, and Alarielle just kept poking his chest and healing him. And eventually Slaanesh was like, heal this, bitch! And like turns him into a chaos spawn. So he explodes into a chaos spawn and gets stabbed and dies. So the Slaanesh leader's dead. Slaanesh cultists are getting stomped by trees. It's not going great. Meanwhile, the Dark Elves are actually doing real good. The Dark Elves are actually doing really, really good. So Alarielle gets to the city and she's like, hey guys, I'm here to help. And the leader of the city is like, that's cool. And Morathi sees this happen, and Morathi goes, fuck it, and flies off on her Dark Pegasus. She has other things to do. She has her own plans. Those are stupid plans. Now, I want you to know, from Morathi's perspective, it said, Morathi knows the battle is lost and flies away. And then it goes back to Alarielle, and she's like, we are gonna lose so fucking bad. We are outnumbered still like 3-1 at this point. I lost all my poets. Like, they're all dead. So we have some dryads, some treemen. They have dark shards. They have reaper bolt throwers. They have cold one nights. Like, we are fucked. Like, and I'm like, wait, if you're outnumbered 3-1, the Dark Elves breached the city in multiple places. Why did Morathi think it was lost? Like, what? She's flying. She can see the battlefield. She can see that she outnumbers you by so much. Why? Whatever. Morathi leaves. Okay. Imric's still naked singing in the cave. The dragons are not responding. They don't care about him at all. In fact, he's gonna die. Like, he has dedicated far too much to the dragon song. He's passing out. He's gonna die. Teclis is bleeding out in his bed because Morathi's cluster bomb messed him up more than anybody could ever know. Tyrion and Finnabar are watching a black arc go straight towards Lothern. Alright, cool. Halves are fucked, boys. It makes no sense, but they're fucked now. But Morathi has a different idea than just winning the war. Morathi goes to the Vortex. Yes, that Vortex. The plot line of Warhammer 2. She goes to that one, and she's like, if I can't win, even though we're winning, if I can't win, nobody can win. I'm gonna fuck with Kalidor Dragon Tamer. He's still alive in the Vortex. I'm gonna undo the Vortex, and the world will blow up. And she gets there, and like, Alarielle walks up to Eldain and Callier, and she brought Rihanna, and she goes, hey, you three need to go to the Vortex and stop Morathi. And, like, as is the theme with her and anybody involving her, they go, why us? Why don't you do it? And they're like, she's like, nah, you do it. You do it. I can't possibly. And they're like, no, you're like faster. You can transport yourself instantaneously on a rainbow. You go do it. Like, this is Morathi we're talking about. We have a novice fire mage and 2 swordsmen. She goes, nah, you're the chosen ones. You go do it. It's fine. Here, take an eagle. So they send him over on some eagles. They get to the Isle of the Dead where the vortex is. Morathi beat him there. They land, and Eldain looks back at the Eagles, and he's like, how will you guys know when to come pick us up? And the Eagles, like, look at each other and then go, yeah, we'll be around. And fly away. And Eldain's like, that is the least comforting way they could have said that, like, something's fucked. You guys hear that? And Callie and Rihanna are already gone. They don't care. Which is whatever. It's fine. So Eldain follows him. Now, I have to remind you, no spoilers, no spoilers. Come on now. Alright. Anyway, they wander through the Isle of the Dead. There's a vortex, it's all spooky. And then they get to this spot, and this is fucked up. They get to this spot where they all lose sight of each other and instead talk to a spirit. And they come out of the spirit realm, and Cal here's like flushed, and he's just like, wow, that was amazing! I talked to Dad, and Dad said how proud of me he was, and Dad said I'm his favorite. Dad said he loved me so much. Dad said I'm a good, strong boy. And Rihanna comes out, and she's like, wow, I talked to my great-grandfather, and he said, you know, I'm such a good mage, and he's so proud of me as a granddaughter, and like, yeah, hey Eldain, what did you see? Oh, I talked to death, like literal death. And he just bummed me the fuck out. Like, he just said all sorts of really depressing shit. And Rihanna are like, that's cool. And I'm like, no, it's not. Your dad said you were his favorite son, and you told your brother that to his face. Rihanna, your granddad said he's so proud of you. This fucker had to just talk to Death for a while, and Death really bummed him out. That's not fair. So they get to the center of the vortex, and Morathi's standing there talking to Kalidor, Dragon Tamer, and she's like, I killed one of your mages that keep the vortex together. The vortex is coming apart, bitch. And Kalidor's like, nah, you're stupid. So he gets real big, like he turns himself like gigantic, and he goes, Morathi, I promised you, if you ever touch the vortex, I would use its power to destroy you. And he gets giant, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. He's gonna fucking kill Morathi. And she tries to cast a spell at him, he just ignores it entirely. And while he's kind of doing some of this stuff, Rihanna, Calhir, and Eldain have to go fight Morathi, and she 1v3s them super easily. Like, the two sword boys can't get closer at all. She's styling on them. The only one who even has a chance is Rihanna. They do some magic dueling, and Morathi wins it, but by this time, Kalidor is huge, and he's like the size of the vortex, and he's like, I will kill you! Whoa! And he throws Morathi and her Dark Pegasus into the sky. Now, I don't know if you know anything about Pegasus mounts, but they can fly. So that was the least effective fucking thing he could have done. For all this buildup of like, I'm gonna take the power of the vortex, I'm gonna crush you because you're a little insect. I throw you gently into the sky and you fly away. Fuck! How could I have known throwing a flying mount in the sky wouldn't result in its instant death? Birds are well known for as soon as they start flying, they fucking die. So anyway, he shrinks down. He's like, oh, it took all of my awesome power to throw Morathi into the sky. I'm like, what? How did that take that much power? What the fuck is going on? This is built up as like this big thing, and then he just like does this limp dick throw, and that's it. He's out. He's out of power. And Morathi was scared of him for some. I'm like, this isn't adding up at all. And Rihanna's like, what do we do? The vortex is fucking collapsing, bro. And Kalidor's like, oh, yeah, you just need to take the guy who dies place. You just need to take his place. That's all this is. That's how we defeat Morathi. And Rihanna's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, it's the only way. And Rihanna's like, all right. And just does it, and the vortex is fixed. Okay, well, that was fucking pointless. And we'll get back to that in a second. So, now, Morathi, when she broke the vortex unleashed magic across all of Ulthuan. While that was happening, this is before, while Kalidor's growing, this happens, right? Magic going all over Ulthuan. It buffs up all the spellcasters. Teclis wakes up and is like, oh my god, I have a lot of power. Casts a regrowth on himself, heals his wound. So he was going to die if Morathi didn't touch the vortex. And then he teleports. He teleports over. I have not lied to you once. He teleports over to Illyrian, that army that's going to kill Alariel and all the boys. He shows up floating in the sky, 8 or 9 Dark Elf casters throwing spells at him. He just deflects them like it's nobody's business. And then the book says he just holds out his hand and spits white fire across the entire army. And Teclis kills an entire army. Just kills all of them. On his own, immediately. Just whoosh. They're all fucking dead. Okay. That's kind of messed up, but whatever. And then Imric is like dead because he's been singing the dragon song for so long, he can't get back to his body, and he didn't wake up any dragons. And then the vortex blows up, and all the dragons are like, "What was that?" "Oh, hey, Imric, we're going to war." And Imric's like, "Okay, I guess." So hundreds and hundreds of dragons wake up in Kalador. They fly down to Lothar, and Malekith's about to celebrate his victories. A bunch of dragons come out of the fucking sky, and Imric gets in a duel with Malekith, messes him up pretty bad. Malekith's like, "Okay, never mind, Jesus Christ," and starts to fly away. Several dragons chase him. He starts cutting them all down with one spell. Like, he's just like, spell, and 6 or 7 dragons die. Spell, 5 more go down. The rest of the dragons are like, all right, let's not follow that one. He's kind of a baddie. Don't follow him. Got it. And then the rest of the dragons swoop down, and they burn the Black Ark to smoldering bits and ashes. They kill all the Dark Elves. They blow up all the Dark Elf ships. The book specifically says no one escaped, so I'm like, wait, so the Dark Elf armies that invaded, both of them that invaded, that somehow outnumbered the High Elves 5-1 and 4-1. The entire High Elf army was outnumbered 5-1, 4-1. Both of those forces got completely obliterated. No one made it out. 100% casualties. Yeah, the Dark Elves are fucked. They never become a force again. Oh, wait. Yes, they do. And oh, wait. They get to be enough of a force that the next time they invade Ulthuan in the end times, they succeed? How? How is this? Okay. Okay. It's fine. So, let's recap for a second. If Morathi had done nothing at all, Dark Elves would have taken over Ulthuan during the second invasion. But since she didn't, the magic was unleashed, and the author just took his superhero characters and started smashing action figures together and said, and then Teclis killed all of them with his fire, and then Imric brought the dragons, and then they killed all the Dark Elves, and Teclis killed all the Dark Elves, and everybody smooched. Fine. Back on the Island of the Dead, Calahir was stabbed in the chest by Morathi during their fight where he was really bad, and he's like, ugh, I can't die on the Isle of the Dead. Leave me here, Eldain. Leave me with my wife forever. And Rihanna's like, yes, babe. I love you so much. I've been so faithful. And he's like, you fucked my brother. And she's like, you fucked half of Ulthuan. We're fine. And Kalador's like, we don't have time for this romantic bullshit at all. You need to fix the vortex, like, right now. So she does. She goes, and Eldain goes home. And Eldain sits and mopes for 2 years, and then a Phoenix Guard comes up to him and goes, hey, you want to join the Phoenix Guard? Oh yeah, I forgot that part! Way earlier! I just missed this, but way earlier. Remember how I said the Phoenix Guard showed up? And they were like, hey, Finnebar, you're gonna die? Yeah, Finnebar didn't die, but in the book, it's played for laughs, and honestly, it was well executed, because a statue of the Phoenix King fell down during the fighting, and the Phoenix Guard were like, oh, that's what we saw. It wasn't Finnebar, it was his statue. Never mind, we good. And I'm like, I mean, well played, book. Well played. But yeah, so Eldain becomes one of the Phoenix Guard. Calahir is perpetually almost dead on the Isle of the Dead, hanging out with Rihanna. Rihanna fixes the vortex, and that is the end. Now, at the very start, what did I tell you? It was the first thing I fucking told you in this story. Oh, 2 brothers will determine the fate of all Ulthuan. No, they did not. Let's rewind for a second. One of them fucked his brother's wife for 2 years. The other one got fucked by a Slaanesh cultist for 2 years. Okay. Start the timeline. Calahir accidentally almost murders Teclis. Calahir accidentally almost murders Alarielle. They lead a doomed effort to save Illyrian. They lose. Alarielle has to save them again. Then they go to the Isle of the Dead. They try and fight Morathi. They lose, and Kalador, who was there anyway, just solos Morathi by throwing her into the sky like a dumbass. And then, to save the vortex and save all of Ulthuan, Rihanna stabilizes the vortex. These 2 fuckers didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. The book lies to you. It says they're important. They're not. They didn't matter. You can take them out of the story, and the story still happens. They didn't do anything. They just fucked with the High Elves. That was all they did. I guess they hold the fate of Ulthuan in their hands. Oh wait, no they don't, because Marathi does. If Marathi hadn't done anything, Ulthuan would have fallen. But because she did shit, Ulthuan was saved. It had nothing to do with them! They were just a dumb... They were the A-plot, but they're like a dumb romance B-plot. Alariel revealing that Eldain fucked over Caliher did nothing. Caliher fucking his way across the continent did nothing. The love triangle did nothing. None of it mattered. Oh my god. Elves, man. So that was the second invasion of Ulthuan. Goodbye.
Subscribe, yes, yes.